Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss a new concept. That is a continuation of our yesterday's class. That is the liberalization policy and its measures. So, measures of liberalization policy in the economy. Topic: measures of liberalization policy in the economy, from within the economy. When we analyze the measures of liberalization, we can see that basically there are five measures are there, because the liberalization policy, when we analyze the after the acceptance of liberalization as a new economic policy, when we accepted the policy, we can see that there are five types of measures we can see there happen there or change the policy structure of the nation's development. First one, it is that industrial measures, industrial policy measures, or we can say deregulation of industrial sector, deregulation of industries. First one. Second one, financial sector reforms. First one, industrial sector reforms. Second one, financial sector reforms. And third one, tax reforms or fiscal policy measures. Tax reforms or fiscal policy measures. And fourth one, external reforms. External reforms or foreign exchange reforms and foreign trade policy reforms. External reforms or foreign exchange and foreign trade policy reforms. And last one, trade and investment policy reforms. Trade and investment policy reforms. So, there are five types of measures were there. One, industrial policy reforms or deregulation of industries. Second one, financial sector reforms. And third one, tax reforms or fiscal policy measures. And fourth one, external reforms or foreign exchange reforms and foreign trade policy reforms. And last one, trade and investment policy reforms. Understood? What are the five measures of liberalization? And let us analyze one by one. It will take little time to complete all the explanations of this one. So we will discuss one by one. What is meant by, or what are the industrial measures of this liberalization policy at all? First of all, when we discuss the need for this policy, we can see that it was the first, because of this in industrial sector, some drastic changes happened there after 1991. Means, first one was that the abolition of industrial licensing. Industrial licensing policy was there. Means, as I told you, it was necessary to take license in industry, not to start an industry is there. And all the licensing systems were stopped or cancelled or abolished except few industries. Few, we cannot say few, 6 industries. Except 6 industries. First one was that liquor. First one liquor. Second one cigarettes, liquor, cigarettes. And third one industrial explosives. Industrial explosives. And fourth one defense equipments. Fourth one defense equipments. And fifth one drugs and pharmaceuticals. And sixth one dangerous chemicals. So once again, first one liquor, second one cigarette, third one industrial explosives items, fourth one defense, fifth one drugs and pharmaceuticals, and sixth one dangerous chemicals. Okay, so only license were restricted in these 6 industries. Remaining all industrial licensing system, it was removed or removed or abolished the necessity of that one. So one side it is good, but other side it will lead to big issues that will analyze the achievements and benefits of this new economic policy. We will analyze that one. What was the impact of this abolition? Second one is that from the beginning, regarding the needs also, it was discussed that emphasis on public sector unit. The same thing here, the second, under this industrial measures, it necessitated contraction of public sector units. Contraction. I think you know that in microeconomics we learned that expansion and contraction. Expansion means increase in the quantity demand. Contraction means quantity demand decrease. Expanded, contracted. Increased or decreased. So, in demand and supply, we discussed that one. There is an inverse relationship in case of price and quantity demand and in case of demand. But there should be a direct relation between price and supply also. Means price increases, supply increases. But in demand, price increases, supply, quantity demand decreases. That we discussed. That's not a part of this one. Just as time being, I only mentioned contraction. Contraction means decreased. So, which are the industries, you know? During till 1991, even if after the independence 47 industries were there, it became 17 under the public sector, remaining all it was in a big loss. So out of these 17 public sector industries, remember, out of these 17 public sector industries, now it's became only 3 after 1991. Remaining all these public sector industries were changed the ownerships to the private sector. Is it? Mean that is contraction. So which are the three public sector industries still under the control of the government? Still these industries where means government controls these industries. One, defense equipment. There also recently some changes happen in case of the investments and government allowed. Now the recent government allowed investment in defense also. Second one, atomic energy. And third one, railways. Only these 3 industries were there only. It is showing there. But in certain books we can see that after this one now atomic and railway only existing. And it is said that now railway around, we read in newspaper and also around 100 railways also going to privatize now. So the number of these public sector units now coming down. 3 became 2. Now 2 only. 2 we cannot say 2 exactly. 2 also 100 railways means gradually we are going to the privatization of our all these public sectors units. Okay. So 3 became 2 now. Okay, clear now? And along with this one, we can see that in 2001, means after 1991, in 2001, it was around 88 public sector units were there. 2001. Now it became 3, and some textbook we can updated, we can see it is 2. So such a way matter is coming down. Public sector units now totally going to private sector gradually, because it is mentioned that public sector units are bringing big loss to the nation. That's the reason. And third one is that reforms in small scale sector. Reforms in small scale sector. So reform means small scale sector means that from that period itself, some industry production units industries were reserved to private sector. Small scale sector. Small scale sector means small scale and cottage industrial sector. In order to promote the local development or in order to avoid the regional imbalance, in order to provide regional equality among the regions of the society. Country, it was provided, because if the industry, they are going to start a small scale industry in a remote village, definitely government will allow. Reason is that area will get some advantage. Is it? That is why government might be permitted to start the industries. That system actually should be removed. Means some areas were reserved, some sector units were reserved for the small scale industries. Now, as per this policy measures, this policy matters, it was being de-reserved. Means that de-reserved means that area reservation is given to some other sector other than small scale industrial sector. And one more important thing is that what to produce and how to produce, the basic economic problems that also we discussed in our microeconomics. You know that. What are the basic economic problems? What to produce? Central economic problems are 3. Many are there. Basically, there are 3 we are analyzing. What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. 5 are there. Out of these 3 we are analyzing. What are they? What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. So all these decisions were taken by as per the producer's choice. The producer, manufacturer, he decides what to produce. Means what kind of goods should be produced, either consumer goods or capital goods. How to produce? Seeing the market condition, considering the market situations of the product, demand and supply of the product, the producer can decide. He is the authority to decide what to produce and how to produce. How to produce means is a matter of choice of technique. What kind of technique should be used for the production of these consumer goods and capital goods? What kind of goods first? After that, what kind of technique? Because labor intensive technique, you know that, and capital intensive techniques. So labor intensive means that more of labor and less of capital. Capital intensive means that more of capital and less of labor. So what kind of technique is used? That on the basis of the nation. A country like India, labor intensive is better. Why? Because it will provide more labor employment for the labor force, and by which we can solve the matter of unemployment. So that's a connected topic to this one. Anyway, this can be. It doesn't mean that only labor is used or only capital is used. All techniques we are using little bit of labor, either little bit of labor or little bit of capital. It's okay. It's not fully labor intensive, fully capital intensive. Anyway, so all these decisions were taken by the producer now. Is it not the consumer? Producer now. Producer means the individual. Is it? That's why reforms were made in small scale industrial sector also. And fourth point is that freedom to import of capital goods. Yes, that point we discussed, that it provided freedom for the import of capital goods. Not only capital goods, foreign technology also. So means they got the freedom, all the industrial people got the freedom to import goods from outside, and import of capital goods from outside. Not only capital goods, import of technology from outside for the betterment of their industrial production. And the last point is that some adjustments, some reduction in the Monopoly Restrictive Trade Practices Act of 1969. Means in order to protect the domestic industries, some restriction was made. Restrictions were made in the economy in the 1969. That act also now polished. Means that restriction also now removed. Means that there is no need of such restrictions. Is not required for the economic development there. These are the major industrial measures. Means that some industries were reserved for the public sector. Now the reservation now removed. Now it's given to the private sector also. There is no such restriction was not required for the sector. That was the summary. That is the summary of industrial policy measures. So abolition of industrial licensing, contraction of public sector, reforms in a small scale sector, and de-reservation of the sector, and freedom for the imports of this thing, capital goods and technology, as well as the reduction in the MRTP acts. Clear? Second point is that financial sector reforms. By this financial sector reforms, it is not an easy thing to analyze. When we analyze, suppose we are reading the textbook regarding the financial sector reforms, 2-3 points it will come to your mind. First of all, it is that the matter relating to RBI, very important. And sometimes you can see in question paper also, RBI, after the new economic policy and all, RBI's role became now the facilitator instead of regulator. So we have to discuss something regarding RBI. There will be a great big discussion in regarding RBI is there in macroeconomic money and banking lesson. So that we'll discuss in that lesson. When we are taking this class, you will get the detailed study regarding RBI. For a time being, we should know at least what is RBI, what are the functions of that RBI, when it was established, what are the major functions of RBI, and all. So let us discuss something regarding RBI. I know that you people know that what is RBI and all when it was established. But RBI, it is the an apex authority of Government of India, Reserve Bank of India. As we know, all the nations of the world, they have their own reserve bank, central bank. Our central bank is the Reserve Bank of India, is it? But it is not the first bank. The first bank, it was established in India in 1770, I think. Bank of Hindustan. But that bank is not now in India, is it? So many things are there that we'll discuss in another lesson. But regarding RBI, RBI is the Central Bank of India, established as per the Reserve Bank Act of 1934, 1934, established as per the Banking Act of 1934 in India, and established in 1935. Means not during the period of it was established during British period in Indian Union, is it? And it was nationalized after the independence in the year 1949. Nationalized means it became the part of the Indian Union and India and it is an Indian bank now. Is it? If because the Pakistan people, they should have to start their bank. They might have started there because 1947 the country was divided into two pieces. That also we will discuss the partition of the country and its influence. How it was there, everything we'll discuss in our other class. Okay, so that nationalized in 1949. After that, a big nationalization happened in India in the year 1969 during the period of Srimati Indira Gandhi, very strong iron lady of the our nation, is it? Very strong. During her period only that Green Revolution and all it was happened there, and our country became the largest exporter of these food grains. Green Revolution and all. That you might have listened in my other class. Okay, anyway, so 1949 it was nationalized, means 35 April 1st it was established, and around 85 years before it was established now, this one. And Reserve Bank is the controller and controlling authority of financial sector, and the Reserve Bank measures are known as monetary measures or monetary policy. Monetary policy means the policy of the Reserve Bank. Fiscal policy means the policy of the government. Policy of the government is known as fiscal policy. Policy of Reserve Bank is known as monetary policy. This topic we will discuss in a money and banking lesson in details. And Reserve Bank, the major functions are, Reserve Bank is considered to be the authority, only one authority of printing currency notes in India. Means currency notes from 2 rupee onwards till 1000 rupee. 2000 rupee they are printing, and 1 rupee note it is printed by whom? You know that it's not by Reserve Bank, it is by the government of India, and signed by the finance secretary, and all the coins were minted by the government of India. In coins and in 1 rupee notes you can see that that is printed by whom? Printed by government of India. So I think I was having one rupee note. I'll show you, and I'm taking that because 1 rupee note is not rarely, it's not available now. One I got it from one of my friend that I'm keeping when I want to show this 1 rupee notes. Remaining 2 rupee onwards, because the last unit of the financial power should be the government. So because Reserve Bank is an apex authority, an authority of the government. So government is giving right to print the currency notes. But the control, it should be the government. Okay, anyway. So, and who is the one simple question? Let me ask one thing. Who is the Reserve Bank governor now? 25th governor of the Reserve Bank is now in India, and he is from Tamil Nadu. But you might have noticed that during this Corona COVID-19 period, his message was also there. We have to break the chain of this COVID-19. Stay at home and don't go outside. Be at home only. Take the precautionary measure and all. It is Shakti Kanta Das from Tamil Nadu. He is a IAS officer from Tamil Nadu, I think. Is it? So actually he is not from Tamil Nadu. He is born in Odisha, in Bhubaneswar. I think I read somewhere else. Born in Bhubaneswar. But is a IAS officer of Tamil Nadu. In Kota it is given like that. Anyway, very good officer. And the previous officers also. The Reserve Bank. Anyway, the Reserve Bank is the sole authority to print currency notes. Banker to the government. Controller of this money supply and credit. Custodian of foreign exchange. Many other functions are there. So in this regard, the Reserve Bank, they were controlling entire the money matters of the nation. Fixing exchange rate. Controlling the banks. Controlling the banks means all commercial banks and all the financial matters were controlled by Reserve Bank till 1991. But after 1991, Reserve Bank, that role of Reserve Bank changed from regulator to facilitator. Means rate of exchange will be fixed by the commercial banks. Just central bank has to agree that. So they were controlling banking and non-banking institutions, stock exchanges and foreign exchange market. All these matter only a facilitator role only provided for this RBI. So RBI's, there is a big change in case of this RBI's role from regulator to facilitator. Is it? And second point relating to this financial sector reforms, it is that reduction in legal reserve requirements, LRR. LRR means legal reserve requirements means that, do you think that these commercial banks, they are getting huge amount of money as investment? From our saving we are depositing in the bank, it is they are using as investment. So this investment, do you think that these investments, the entire amount these people are giving back to people in the form of loans? No. There are regulations, restrictions are there. Some amount of money all this commercial bank has to keep in their control. Out of this investment, a portion of money should be deposited by this commercial bank to central bank. That deposit is known as CRR, cash reserve ratio. This money should be deposited by the central bank, commercial banks to the central bank. Remaining amount they can keep in their hand. That is known as statutory liquidity ratio. The amount which is kept, SLR, statutory liquidity ratio. So the sum total of this CRR and SLR is known as LRR, legal reserve ratio or requirements. So this matter, this is the power of this central bank. During this season, means after 1991, Reserve Bank reduced the LRR. Means that the amount of money which is kept by these banks in their hands, it is reduced. Means that banks will get more money to give in the form of loans towards the people. So the maximization of credit, that was the aim behind this reduction. And moreover, rather than this reducing an LRR, other policy measures, because this detailed study is, I told you, detailed study is there regarding the functions of central bank under the title Controller of Money Supply and Credit. There we will study this matter in detail. Qualitative and quantitative measures are there. Don't worry, we will take the class regarding this one. Qualitative and quantitative measures. So there are 5 types of quantitative measures are there. Bank rate, repo rate, reverse repo rate, open market operation and legal reserve requirements. Quantitative measures. 3 qualitative measures are there. Moral suasion, then margin requirements and rationing of credit. Once again, quantitative measures are only 3. As per the order, it is margin requirements, moral suasion and rationing of credit. So total altogether, there are 8 measures, 5 quantitative and 3 qualitative. All these measures are totally known as the controller of the functions of controller of money supply and credit. They will discuss what is LRR, how it will affect the nation, how it will control inflation, what will be the policy in inflationary situation regarding this LRR, what is the policy regarding this deflation situation regarding LRR. All there's a detailed study is there. No problem. I will take one other class regarding that one that time. Now the bank rate should be bank rate also. Bank rate is the one among that one. So that also reduce means the entire aim is to increase the volume of money in the hands of these commercial banks, by which the commercial bank can give maximum loans towards the customers when they are approaching to get the money from the banks for their different developmental activities or the manufacturing activities and all. So okay, that was the reason. So means maximization of the credit possibilities. And moreover, as a part of this one, this SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. You might have learned in your business studies also. Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, also became a statutory body after this one. Statutory body means having the right, powerful body in India after this policy and all. Is it in 2001? They gave the priority weightage for them that way. So these are the measures coming under financial sector reforms. So once again, RBI became facilitator instead of regulator. And one more point I forgot. There it also be allowed these foreign institutional investment. Yes, very important point I forgot. Foreign institutional investment. So that also allowed. And moreover, along with this, as a part of this one, some mutual fund, pension schemes, everything also came. So means the private banks also, foreign banks came to the nation in order to function in our country also. At the same time, we can say, okay, we can also work there outside. That also there, because our Indian banks also we can see, other countries of the world also, is it? So the old banks are there working, and more private banks also started coming to our country. Now also they are there and they are working there. Indian banks also working abroad also. That all the things are there. These are the matter coming under this institutional investment and LRR and bank rate. These are the three major decisions in case of this financial sector reforms. I think we understood. Then we are going to the third, that is a tax reforms or fiscal policy measures. So by this tax reforms we mean, basically this tax reforms we have to discuss regarding two types of taxes. This I told you, this big discussion is there in macroeconomics budget lesson regarding direct taxes and indirect taxes. But for this tax reforms, we have to study a little bit regarding what is meant by this direct tax and indirect tax. So as you know, direct tax and indirect tax, we can analyze the difference between these two with the help of a small example. So before that one, we should know three basic concepts, three terms. One is that impact of the tax. So it is very easy if we are using these three terminology, then only the explanation should come perfect. First of all, the impact of the tax. Second one, incidence of the tax. And third one, shifting of the tax. Impact of the tax, incidence of the tax, and shifting of the tax burden. Impact, incidence, shifting. Impact, incidence, shifting. So what is the impact of the tax? What is the incidence of the tax? How can we say shifting of tax burden? I will explain this concept with the help of an example. Suppose you are a manufacturer. You are producing a soap in the market. In Indian economy, you are producing and you are selling a soap in the market. Any name. You can put your soap's name, whatever it is that. And this soap is having a little bit catch in the market also. People are consuming, using that soap for their own cleaning purposes and all, whatever it is that. So suppose the cost of production for the soap is 10 rupees. Imagine that. Very affordable for the common people. We are making the soap. Everyone should use that such a way. Very genuine, affordable one only we are manufacturing. Not charging very high price. So 10 is the price of your soap. Imagine that. Means cost of the production is 10. And you need 2 rupees profit from the soap. For one soap you need 2 rupees. And whenever you are manufacturing the products, you have to pay tax to the government, that is known as sales tax. So sales tax, imagine that 1 rupee you paid in the form of sales tax. So, rough example only is not the clear-cut percentage. Don't say that, sir, not 1%. For your understanding, I am saying this example. So 10 rupee plus 2, 12 plus 3, 30 rupees. Now it is you need. Means 11 rupee your expense, 10 plus 1, 10 plus cost of production, plus 1 is the tax. So 11 is the expense, plus 2 rupee you need profit. And you found one wholesaler to sell the product and he is asking 1 rupee for one soap. Okay, you agreed, no problem. Okay, now it is 14 including, and the wholesaler will find one person to sell that one. Okay, so whatever whoever the retailers are there, you are ready to give 1 rupee profit for them also. Is it? So what is the total cost of the soap now? 10, your cost of production, 1 is your profit, 10 plus 1, 11, 2 your profit, so 30. You need 30 rupees now. When you are giving this product to wholesaler, you are asking 30 rupees from him. And the wholesaler is giving the rate to the retailer, he is also asking 1 rupee extra from him, for him. And when the final consumer is buying, coming there to buy the product, it is written on the wrapper, it is the MRP is rupees 15, and in bracket it will be written in INCL of all taxes, means including of all taxes. So all the taxes paid now, no need to pay any tax now, 15 rupees is the cost. So that you will print in the wrapper, so wrapper you will print MRP 15. So the consumer will buy and he will use the product, and if he is interested he will buy again or he will change the other, because consumer is having the right, consumer sovereignty is there. Anyway, the soap business is not my topic. So in this one, who paid the tax first? Tax paid by the manufacturer. And who bear the tax last? Tax paid by whom last? By the final consumer. How? Through producer, you paid the tax and you gave the burden to the wholesaler. Wholesaler shared the burden, gave burden to the retailer. Retailer gave the burden to the final consumer. So, producer paid first, consumer paid last. So, the burden of this tax shifted from producer's shoulder to the consumer's shoulder. Is it? So, impact was upon the producer, incidence was upon the consumer. So, impact upon the producer, incidence upon the consumer. And the process of shifting this impact from this producer's shoulder to consumer's shoulder is known as shifting of tax burden. Understood? Impact is upon the producer, incidence upon the final consumer, and the shifting of this burden means shifting of this impact to incidence is known as shifting of burden, tax burden. So this is possible in indirect tax. Then what is the definition of indirect tax? If the impact and incidence are upon two persons, such taxes we can call it as indirect tax in simple language. And the process of shifting the burden from one producer to the final person, that process is known as shifting of tax burden. Examples are all the taxes except wealth tax and income tax. All taxes are considered to be this indirect taxes. Even for small thing, even for salt, for all and each and every product we are paying tax. How can we escape from tax? This is not a logical question. How can we escape from tax? No need to buy a good. Is it possible? No. That is why we are buying goods, we are paying tax. This is what we are saying it as indirect tax. Then what is direct tax then? Direct tax we mean there is no way of this shifting of burden impact to incidence or shifting of this thing from one person to the other person. Suppose I have submitted my entire income statements to the nation, form number 16 and all, and the government found that I am liable to pay the tax. I have to pay the tax to the government, and government gave a notice to pay the tax, so and so. That is known as income tax. So from my income I have to pay. It is not possible to shift my burden to others. It's not possible. If the government imposed tax upon me, I am liable to pay the tax. Is it? So there is no way. And the same way government imposed tax upon my wealth also. I have to pay the tax by myself. There is no way to escape from there. So these are the two direct taxes. Direct taxes means impact and incidence upon one person. There is then no need to think about shifting of burden. But in indirect tax, impact upon one person, incidence upon other person. So possibility of shifting. That is indirect tax. Got it now? I think you understood that. And anyway, regarding tax system, it was said that our tax system was very complicated prior to 1991. But after that one, everything, all this matter simplified, and the tax system also came now. And in 2016, there's a new act regarding the tax, that is a GST Act. That is revised, and now we are paying, instead of this value added tax, we are paying GST. What is the full form of GST? You know that. Goods and service tax. Only one unified tax, is it? And there are many discussions regarding that is a profitable, non-profitable. That also state share is there, central GST is there, many things are there. Big dispute is that we'll study when we are analyzing the budget lesson and this one, is it? And project also, you have to do project regarding any of this topic. Last year's my project was regarding GST and okay, for my students. Anyway, so this is what we are calling it as the direct and indirect tax, and this tax reforms measures were very effective because means the government want to give some considerations for the producers and all in terms of these things by unifying the tax policy. This is what we are saying as the fiscal policy measures, tax and expenditure policy of the government. Then we are moving to the fourth point, is that is the foreign exchange reforms. By these foreign exchange reforms we mean it consists of two, means external reforms we mean it consists of two major areas. One is that foreign exchange reforms, and second one is foreign trade policy reforms. Foreign exchange reforms and foreign trade policy reforms. Both are different. One is foreign trade and one is foreign exchange of foreign currencies. So that was I told you, a big discussion is there regarding this one in macroeconomics, last unit, balance of payment and foreign exchange, is it? But anyway, for this concept, at least we have to study a little bit. The reason is that, so basically, main objective behind this foreign exchange, this external reforms were three points we have to analyze. First one is that the settlement of this BOP crisis, because the reason behind this new economic policy was one reason was that crisis in balance of payment. There I told you that what is balance of payment. BOP means the sum total of the visible and invisible items of exports and imports between two countries of the world. And when these exports and imports for nation, from the exports we are earning foreign currency, for the imports we are spending. So the difference between these two is known as the balance of payment. It is counted in the current account deficit, and all these topics are there. So this matter should be solved. So as a continuation of this one, major impact was that after that one, this implementation of this liberalized policy in our economy, our country devalued our rupees. Devaluation and depreciation, two terms are there. Both are different, but people are using interchangeably in the same sense of meaning, depreciation and devaluation. One is consciously done, other one is considering the demand and supply, it decreased. So, no doubt, if you want to know, devaluation, it is the lowering of the value of our currency. Lowering. Decreasing the value of the currency consciously, the word you have to use consciously with a decision in relation to the other currencies of the world. Means comparing the international currencies of the world, if you are decreasing or lowering the value of our currency, that is known as devaluation. By devaluation, that is devaluation. By what depreciation we mean, it is the fall in the value of currency. Fall in the value. And depreciation, the rate of exchange will be floating exchange rate. Floating exchange rate, fixed exchange rate, flexible exchange rate, floating exchange rate. Floating means also moving, changing. So that also there in the topic. So fall in the value of currency. The impact will be same. So during this devaluated period, the exports are becoming expensive. Imports are becoming expensive. Imports are becoming expensive. How you know? Because in order to get some foreign currency, we have to pay more. Suppose, for example, we are now roughly we have to pay 20 rupees to get 1 Saudi Riyal. Suppose last month it was 90 rupees in terms of Saudi we are saying, or in terms of dollar we are saying around 70 rupees you have to pay. Take that in round figure. 70 rupees you have to give for $1. So the Americans can buy now more goods from Indian market because Indian currency's value came down. That is advantage for the people. The imports are becoming expensive, and in international market, exports are becoming competitive. How it is there, all the concepts we will discuss in our that related topics. So in such a way, it's becoming a matter for the people in terms of exports and imports. Anyway, for this time being, just try to understand that devaluation, it is the lowering of the value that happened there, and goods are becoming cheaper in foreign markets. Means there is no value for the Indian currency. That's why our goods also, before we are getting 70 rupees for $1 item, in devaluation time, the American dollar will become 75 or 80. Means 80 rupees you have to pay for $1 means we will not be getting the same amount for the same product. We will be getting less for that, but we have to give more goods for the same price. Such a way our commodity becoming more cheap in the international market. And next one is that inflow of foreign capital to the country. Foreign capital is coming to the country more. That also very important in connection to this one. So such a way foreign capital is coming in the form of foreign institution investment, and market is determined by the exchange rate. Exchange rate also determines the market, and instead of this government control, there will be control from the market forces, And in continuation this one, foreign technology also. We were ready to import technology from other countries as the part of this one. And as we discussed yesterday in our last class, quotas also abolished. There is no need of quota system. Any country want to import more, let them import. Let them get the advantage. The domestic industry is not able to consider this issue. Let the domestic industry stop down and let the foreign goods come to the market. So dumping of goods from that one, and almost all the goods import duty now removed. Import duty also removed from there. There is no need of import duty on the goods. Let the commodity come, because let the nation trade between the countries. There is no need of such restrictions. And the very important thing is that import license also removed, except a few goods. Those goods are having some hazardous impact or social issues and pollution. Such issues are there relating to any goods. Those goods, license was required. Other than that, there was no need of. So considering this matter, many foreign industries also came to our nation. I have read in one newspaper that one company using that batteries thread, carbon thread. That company, I think I read that it was stopped in Japan. So considering these new economic policy measures and entry of license, they came to the country in our state. One state, they started their industry, and the people started strike against the industry. The housewives, they left the kitchen and they went to protest against the company. And finally, because what was the reason, that because of the working of the company, there is a full dust, carbon in the atmosphere everywhere. And the rainy season also, the first rain, we can see instead of pure water, that dark drops are coming on, because almost all the leaves we can see this carbon, and that's created a big issue, asthma, bronchitis problems and all. And finally people protested against the company and company closed down. These are the histories of this one that we will discuss in our topic. Anyway, this import licensing of this hazardous industry also created a big issues in the economy. These are the major measures coming under this external sector reforms. And we are moving to the fifth and last point, is that trade and investment policy reforms. In this trade and investment policy reforms, basically the quantitative restrictions, it was there in our economy, because quantity of the commodity restriction that was removed from the imports. There was no, means in other terms you can say quota, that was removed, and the tariff system also totally removed from there from 2001. There was no need of any tariff. Tariff system totally removed. The licensing policy also removed. And second thing is that promotion of exports. Export promotion was promoted. If the country is able to, because that should be there now, then we will think about that. Oh, that this policy promotes exports. What we will export? Yes, we are exporting goods. Still we are exporting goods to the countries of the world. Because we know that Indian products are having more demand in international market. Such as like vegetables from India, onions, then cotton, clothes, cotton textile, cotton products, jute from Calcutta and all, cotton from Maharashtra, then spices, cardamom and all, other spices, tea, coffee and all these are having high market in international market, high demand in the international market. So it means that our products are having more promotion in the international market, and that is why the import duty also removed for the consideration of the people. That is a better thing. Import duty also removed. Let the people export more from the country. That will bring more result to our nation also. So in such a way, these are the five-fold measures of this new economic policy in India. Let us sum up by quoting once again. So which are the five measures? First one, industrial policy measures. Second one, financial sector reforms. Third one, tax reforms. And fourth one, external sector reforms. And fifth one, trade and investment policy reforms. Now I think you understood the concept, and thank you for watching. Let us break the chain and sit at home, and we can take precaution against this corona and all. Thank you for listening my class.